Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce Jara Gonzalez. She's killing it. She's on the leaderboards for the rookie contests. You've heard her name. If you track on all the TWCs and the activity calls when Andy reads out leaderboard, she's usually at the top somewhere competing on the rookie contest because she's been licensed within the last year with us, and she's killing it. She kind of came from nowhere. There she is. Hey, Jara. All right. You're looking all good, looking all hot and everything. Got your hair done just for us.
My hair did, you know.
Yeah. That's awesome. It's great to see your lovely smile. So I had a chance to meet Jara at the last function. Did I meet you before that? I don't remember.
I don't think so. I think at Family Reunion was the first time we met, Alex.
And was Family Reunion the first function, or did you go to NatCon?
No, I actually did go to NatCon. In fact, it was crazy how it happened because my dad invited me to a hotspot. It was my first time even learning anything about it. I went to the hotspot that week before NatCon. I signed up for the class like at the hotspot. And then that next week I went to NatCon. I wasn't even licensed.
Wow. Well, cool. That's very cool. So just kind of catch us up. When did your dad actually share with you the opportunity, and where were you and what were you doing?
So I had actually lived in Hawaii the last 2 years, and I had recently moved back to New Mexico. And I knew that my dad was doing something kind of in insurance, but I wasn't really sure what he was up to. And so since I'd moved back, we had a lot more time to catch up. And so he basically just kind of mentioned to me what he was doing. He showed me some of the leads and kind of just said that he was doing pretty well with it. And I was kind of, I don't know, open, I guess. I mean, I wasn't actively looking for something, but I was just kind of, I guess open to opportunity. And so he's like, well, you should come check out our hotspot. And so I did. And Dylan Gauna actually runs a hotspot there in Albuquerque, and he showed the plan that day, and I was just really impressed. And I thought, well, shoot, it doesn't hurt to give it a shot. So I pretty much.
When was this?
So that was at the end of, I guess it would have been the very end of January. And then I went to NatCon.
January 2018?
Yes. And then I didn't get licensed really until the end of February. And I think my first month actually running business was actually March.
Wow, March of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what were you doing for a job when your dad talked to you about the business?
So I was doing some internet marketing stuff, just kind of working from my laptop, which was great to have that freedom and flexibility. But I craved that human interaction because it was just like me and my laptop, and I didn't feel like I was really doing anything that was purposeful or making a difference, and so I was just kind of like, I don't know, I felt like a little bit stagnant. So that's what I was doing, some internet marketing.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so explain to me kind of the dynamic with your dad. Like, I don't know your relationship with him, but sometimes when a dad shows his son or daughter, the business or something, sometimes there's that, oh, Dad, that's good for you, but, talk to the hand, What was he like really pressuring you, or he just kind of threw it out there? Maybe you're interested, maybe you're not. Was he pretty laid back in his approach to?
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty laid back about it. Of course, there's always that like, yeah, Dad, but but he just kind of he wasn't pressuring me at all. He was very just like, hey, this is pretty cool. He just kind of dropped a lot of hints here and there, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna be in Albuquerque. And that's where I moved back to, was Albuquerque. And so he's like, I'm gonna be in Albuquerque, and he's like, why don't I come pick you up and you can at least check it out if it's something that can benefit you, great. If not, no worries. So he was just kind of laid back about it. And
Oh,
so
that's cool.
I think that helps that he wasn't like, he didn't put a lot of pressure on me.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
So you got your license, and then like the process of getting started, like we have a lot of new agents coming on, which is why our lead investment has gone way up, because we're getting a bunch of new people started. Tell us about your getting started process. Like, what was going through your mind? You went through probably the NA Quick Start and some of the videos and training. Did you go out with your dad actually on some appointments, or how did you get started?
I did go out with him on a few appointments. In fact, the first appointment that I went with him on was a Spanish appointment. And I can speak Spanish, but I don't feel like 100% like perfect Spanish.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, like trying to communicate. I mean, I can speak Spanish, but it was just like, okay, I can do this. So I went on a few appointments, and then I just tried to pour in and learn as much as I could, with the resources on NAA University. And I reached out to a lot of the people and established relationships with other people in the Albuquerque hotspot because, the father-daughter dynamic, even though he hired me, it was important for me to be able to establish relationships with some other people and get some mentoring. And honestly, Alex, I think a big, big thing for me was attending national convention. NatCon, it just really opened my eyes to the bigger picture of what the Alliance was, and it really, really fired me up. And so I think attending that out of the gate before I was even licensed, once I got back, it was like, all right, let's do this thing, So
I always say, Jared, that this business is built on belief. The amount of belief you have will be manifested in what you do. So the people that really believe do a lot. The people that don't do as much. And you got a chance to get all that stuff poured in you before you even got out the gate. That's
right.
awesome. That is awesome. I sent out this video on Steve Harvey where he talks. It's a famous video, motivational video called Jump. And what he says in that video is, if you want a different life and you decide you want a different life, eventually you're going to have to jump. In other words, have faith. My buddy Jim sent me that video and just reminded me how awesome that video is that there's a point where you just have to jump out on faith and your life will change. And I think that NatCon gave you that faith and belief that you could jump. And you did. Like, tell us, like, when you first got started, your first month, what did you do your first month in terms of the business and production and all of that?
So I actually traveled to different areas my first month. I just kind of wanted to run business in different counties. So my first month, in fact, my very first day running appointments happened to be on my birthday.
Oh, wow. You're hardcore.
I'm like, let's do this. So yeah, I ran in different counties all throughout New Mexico. I ran in one county one week. My second week, I ran in a different county. Because I just wanted to kind of get a feel for the different areas. But my first month, I submitted about $30,000 in annual premium in business.
Okay, I didn't quite hear you. Can you say that again?
I submitted about $30,000 in annual premium my first month. That was March. The month of March was my first full month.
Okay, so how many leads a week were you running per week? And when you say different counties, how far would you travel to go to some of these places?
Well, my mom lives up in northern New Mexico, so my first week running business was up in Four Corners area, San Juan County.
That's about 2 hours, 3 hours?
It's about 2.5 hours.
2.5, yeah.
Of Albuquerque. Where else did I run? I went down to Clovis, which is about 4 hours. I ran in Albuquerque. So, about 2, 3, 4 hours away.
And so they must have a bunch of leads in those counties that you accessed, right?
They did. And I tried to kind of look at where do I know people, where do I have family that I could stay with or friends, and kind of
What
look.
couch can I crash on, right?
Yeah, exactly. Hey,
Oh,
I'll
smart.
couch surf.
Hey, remember me? I'm like your third cousin twice removed.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm sure it's great to have friends, man, and relatives.
That's
Get
right.
rich, and all of a sudden your family expands.
It's like
Invited to everybody's
Andy
barbecue.
says, like, you know, build those relationships before you need them, right?
That's right. Amen. So, I mean, that's amazing. So, how many appointments were you averaging that first month in March to turn in 30,000?
Oh my gosh, I would have to look at my activity book. I've slept since then. My activity book, it's kind of fallen apart. Like the whole cover recently just
That's
fell
what it's
off.
supposed to look like, Jara. That's what it's supposed to look like.
The cover recently just fell off. I mean, I was like, okay, we're just gonna
See
pick.
what I'm saying? Your guys' neck activity book needs to look like that. You probably throw it around. Oh, there it is, in the floor of my car.
Right. Well, let's see, my first week, I probably booked about 13 appointments my first week. So I would say I averaged between about 10 and 15 appointments
Wow.
during the month of March. I think there was one week that I did like 20. I tried to kind of increase it a little bit.
Yeah. Wow. And so, did you get around people dialing the phone to learn how to dial, and or you just went for it? Like Andy has this thing called fire, ready, aim. You just went for it and just did it and figured out you're going to learn along the way. Kind of, how did you approach the learning process?
So I had gone on a couple appointments with my dad, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to sooner or later just do some appointments on my own. And so my first dial session, I was just by myself. I was just like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do some dials. I mean, I did the getting started training, of course. So I went through all of that, learned listened to Paul Menachino, do his dial session and everything. But other than that, I didn't really do any training when it came to dials. I was like, well, they kept saying the best way to learn is ready, fire, aim. So I just got out there and did some dials and booked some appointments. So,
It's funny. You probably hardly even know what you did, but you just did it, and you
right.
went out.
I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just like, I even had the script like in front of me, trying not to be too scripty, but I still just to have as a guideline because I'm like, I think I used the phone script during my dial sessions for probably like a couple months. Just for every dial session, I just had like this binder, open with the phone script, and I had to highlight notes and everything
Now, did you make lead investments right away, like in A leads, or did you have a combination of A leads and the A1s, double A's, triple A's, or kind of how did you approach getting ramped up on the lead program?
So my first month, my first week dialing, I was given some leads just to get started. And then that next week, that first week I did write some business, which was awesome. That was exciting. and so I was able to reinvest some of my, what I earned in the business into some leads. And, I started out small. I don't know. I'm trying to think if I did. I don't think I bought any leads the first dial session. And then I just kept, okay, I'll start with, $100 or 150 or whatever you can do this week. And then the more you do, I just kept ramping it up a little by little. And then now, the more business I would write, I would try to reinvest, in more leads. And so now I'm up to like, gosh, 400 or 500 a week.
That's rocking.
So, and I have noticed, the more I invest in leads, the more business I write. So there is a correlation there.
Okay, disclaimer. You and I have not talked to game plan this. right?
No, we haven't.
We- okay, I just want to make sure there's integrity in this interview. mean, I mean, come on. Does that look like a face that would lie to you? So that's interesting how that works. I was just talking
Yeah.
about that earlier. So, okay, so the month of April, so you really kind of just jammed a bunch of learning and traveling, running leads, getting on the phone, closing deals, and just kind of getting into the groove. So tell me what happened in April through today, like as far as just really hitting it.
Yeah, so I mean, it hasn't been like, oh, all sunshine and rainbows this whole time. I mean, I've been told no lots of times.
Yeah.
It's been one of those things. I'm trying to find my notes on my production. I know that I wrote that down at some point. Okay, so moving forward, like April, I wrote about 17,000. Well, issue paid 17,419. May was 20,843. June is when I went to Hawaii. I think I was a little distracted in Hawaii.
I think
I
a little
wrote about 12,000. I was like, we'll get a license in Hawaii. You'll be fine. July, I wrote about 14,000. And then I think so far in August, I'm at about 13. I'm going for the rookie contest. So
you're killing it on the rookie contest. I am so impressed with that. I think I just can't emphasize enough the beauty about how you got started and just jumping in. I can't, overestimate the power of a national conference. We just had family reunion. You went to NatCon, and people always make decisions based on stuff they think they know. They make decisions, well, I don't really need to go. What I need to do is I just need to book appointments and go out on appointments. That's the logical thing. A lot of our real smart people think, well, I don't need that. I just need to do this. The only problem with that thinking is that you don't ever know what you missed, because going to that conference will touch you in ways that you cannot even imagine, that you've never probably have been touched before or inspired before. And it's not just rah-rah, it's knowing that all these people can do it, of all kinds of backgrounds, that there's nothing stopping you. And it's that extra that you get from it. And you're just like a perfect example. Like, Jared, can you imagine if you didn't go to NatCon? Do you think the story would have been different?
I think so. I think it would have taken me a lot longer to reach the success, I guess, that I've reached, because I think for me, when you're out there in the field and you're doing dials and you're writing business, there's that level of, I'm out here, I'm on my own, I'm doing my thing. But for me, it was a sense of connecting to something bigger than myself. Seeing what the alliance was from like a bird's eye view, and seeing that we're all over the country, we're in every state, we're out there helping families, and just the leadership in this organization, and everyone is just so positive, and to be a part of something, and for me, that was really inspiring, because it made me feel like I'm not on my own, and even though you have your local team or your upline, it's nice to be able to be a part of like a national, an organization on a national level. And, for me, I had been working just basically from home, from my laptop for quite a while. And yeah, that was fine, but it got boring after a while, and I kind of felt a little bit isolated. So to be a part of a community and have people and, just be able to tap in and just create friendships and relationships with these people all from all over the country, and we're all in one place at the convention, and everybody inspires each other, and just hearing people's stories is just so inspiring.
That's awesome. So, okay, so it hasn't been a rosy road. So talk about, like, people don't think it's like, oh, she's never had any problems or had any like talk about the challenges that you've encountered as you start doing is, the more volume and more appointments you book, the more you encounter all the stuff that you can encounter. Like talk about those downtimes, the stuff that you had to struggle through, because, it's just figuring out how to get through all those things to get to the good stuff, right?
Yeah. And, for me moving from Hawaii was kind of like starting over a little bit, I've had to find a new place to live and all these different things. So, I pretty much left my other job, so I didn't really have an income. So for me, a lot of it was like, I don't have a choice. Like I gotta make some money. But even on the phone, like I've had challenges, people yell at you and they hang up and don't you come to my house and don't you ever call me again and blah, blah, blah. And, it can be discouraging. And I've had moments where I'm like, all right, I'm just not cut out for this, whatever, but I think in those moments, instead of wallowing in my own sorrows and, because if you go down that road, you can come up with a lot of ideas that'll take you down a dark place, And so I think one of the things that I've tried to do is just reach out. Like Joseph Dukes is my agency manager, and I've really, really tried to just stay in constant contact with him. And I remember one night when I was running business out of town, it was just kind of one of those days. Nothing seemed to be going right. Like I had a bunch of no-shows and I was just like, man, and then I got back to I was staying in a hotel that time, and I was just like it was just a long day. And I reached out to him and just, I just called him. And I think that was probably the best thing that I could have done. Because when you're feeling down, we all have those moments. Like, I'm not going to lie to you and say that it's always going to be just, perfect, because it's not. Like, we're all going to have our ups and downs. But the important thing is reaching out to somebody, not someone like a friend or family that's going to help you wallow in your sorrows, but someone, on the team that can help you, kind of inspire you and, hey, just talk you through it. And so I think that was really helpful for me to just call him and say, hey, I'm just kind of like having a tough day. And, and so I think just reaching up, not reaching down
Yeah.
is kind of what helped me through that. And
that's awesome. That is so true. I mean, because if you call other people that are not in the business, the best thing they're going to tell you is, well, maybe you should consider doing something else. They'll feed that negative side, as opposed to people that have been through what you've been through, like Joe Dukes. Oh my gosh, the stuff he's been through in his life and all the challenges. And so you're talking to a rock right there that you can kind of lash your boat onto when the storm and the sea is rocking. You got someone that you can hang on to. Man, that's probably one of the best advice I've ever given and I've ever heard is, reach up, not down. That's very cool. Very cool. So, so you've had no shows, you've had people, do you ever have that situation where the person wouldn't let you in their house yet? No, you can't come in.
Well, not yet, I guess.
Okay. Okay, well, call me if you do.
All right, you'll be the first one I call, Alex.
All right, awesome. Well, so do you think also the system that we provide, the 8 steps to success, the hotspot meetings, the conference calls, all the things that we do, has that also been an important part of you to keep your mind right, keep your attitude right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's honestly what I've done from the beginning, is just plugged in. I've been to every hot spot, even when I was in Hawaii, that's a cool thing. Like I was out in Honolulu and I was able to go to the hot spot out there, and I'm like, it was
Steve
awesome.
Valerie. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve was awesome. And so it's just awesome to be able to tap in, like wherever you're at, and those conference calls, man, those are huge. And if I ever am in an appointment or anything that I'm not able to attend them live, I always watch them later.
Yeah.
And you know.
Absolutely.
I'll add it to my calendar. Like I'll put it in my activity book. If I cannot attend it live, I'll write it in like listen to the TWC or
that's awesome. I make that recommendation all the time, is that you got to make the time for it. Like for people that work or like you're on appointment, that you got to put it in your calendar later in the day to make up that session, because it's too easy to just blow it off and say, well, I'll watch it when I have time. Well, that means you'll never watch it. But if you put it in your calendar as if it were when it was supposed to be, but you attend it later, it's like you're attending it. So, you know, again, you honor your calendar. When did you figure out that your calendar was really the key to making this thing work?
Well, at first I was only putting my appointments in there, you know, and I started to learn really fast that, okay, I need to use this like a daily planner for my life.
For your life. Yes.
And so I started entering like exercise time in there, you know, like the conference calls, like if I have family time or time with friends, like I'll add that in there too, you know. It becomes like, because it's your life. You have your career and your work, and you have your family life, and you have, you know, church and different things. And so for me, when I combined all of that, it was like, okay, because you can't have like you have your work calendar over here and then your personal calendar over here. When you have it all in one place, it makes it a lot easier.
That's right, because you have one life. It is yours.
Right, exactly. You're not two people. I mean, I wish sometimes that I was multiple.
Well, that's the other thing. Let me emphasize. There's some people that say, well, the reason why they're kicking butt is it's the husband and wife working together. Like, you're in a single situation. It's like, so your situation's your situation. You know, I mean, at least you have two arms and two legs, and you can see out of both your eyes. We got agents that are in wheelchairs trying to make it.
I'm going to locate the policy number.
So, I mean.
Just got issued. Give me 1 second. Let me find that email.
Hold on. I sound like Shelly. Shelly, can you mute? Okay, anyway. Well, okay, does anyone have any questions? If you can chat out questions or...
Yeah, okay. I am calling about a policy that was just issued this morning, and the client would like to change the draft date.
Shelly.
BU 2306654.
Getting that business issued. You go, girl.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Jared, could you unmute yourself? Do you have the ability to unmute yourself? Because I muted everybody.
Yes, I got it.
Okay, cool. Shelly, man, she is a bulldog, a pit bull.
Multitasking, whatever it takes.
Yeah, okay, so talk about that. Like, did you have to learn to really actively manage your pending?
Oh my gosh, I'm still working on that, honestly. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because Andy, I went to one of his boot camps that he did in Denver. Like, I think that was actually the beginning of April.
Yeah.
So I had just completed my first full month, and it was like this big, you know, my $30,000 a month. And honestly, because I was so horrible at pending business, I only issue paid about half that, because I didn't know what the heck I was doing, like all of these things. And so Andy Albright told me at that boot camp, he's like, you need to get a secretary.
That's
just
right.
Like
It's either you get one or you are one.
Oh my gosh. And then I think, and I didn't do it right away because I had this, you know, mindset of like, oh, well, I can't afford it. But then even at family reunion, it was like the light bulb went off when I think it was Robbie Kraft that was talking. And this is why it's so important to attend the events, because sometimes it takes multiple times for it to sink in. But for me, it was like, okay, I'm averaging about $250 an hour, $250 to $300 an hour with the business, you know, that I write. And if I'm spending time doing $10 an hour work that I could, in my pending business, that I could hire somebody to help me, well, then that's really taking away, I could be spending those hours, doing 250 an hour work. And it was just like, bing, like, hello.
Yeah, we call that in the finance world arbitrage.
Right. So actually, it was kind of cool because I created, one of my goals is to, of course, go to Paris. And so one of the things that I did, that's right, Paris, baby. One of the things that I did to hold myself accountable was I told my mom that I'm taking her to Paris with me. And so I invited her actually to come to family reunion with me. And I said, hey, you need to meet all the people that you're going to be traveling with, just kind of like speaking it into existence.
Amen.
And so she came to family reunion with me. And so she heard everything that they're talking about, like, you need to hire somebody to help you out, all this stuff. So she made a deal with me. She said, all right, I know you need help. I'll tell you what, I'll help you with your pending business. But you just get us to Paris. And I'm like, deal. So she's been helping me, which has been awesome. And that's freed up a lot of my time. And now it's August, and I think I'm at about 105,000 points for Paris. So I'm almost there.
That's what I'm talking about.
So excited.
I use the analogy of hiring help like a water filter. If you don't have a water filter in your house, then you are the water filter.
Yeah.
And you think, oh my God, all the stuff in water these days, it's the same thing, getting some help. And when you think about it, as you're getting started, maybe they're spending 2-3 hours. Maybe you're paying them $10 an hour, maybe 5 hours as you're getting started. And then, as you grow, their support's going to grow, but you're always going to get your money back. It's such a great concept. And I love what you said, that if you weren't there to hear it and understand it, the light bulb would not have gone off. Right.
They could have, even just the environment at the events at the company headquarters. I probably could have, they probably could have said it at the hot spots like a few times, hire an assistant, you got to do it, But when you see these people that are just like, hey, this is what you got to do, and it's, I don't know, for me, it's the light bulb went off at family reunions. I'm like, okay, we got to make this happen.
Oh, that's so awesome. Well,
and it does make a difference.
I tell you what, Jerry, it's been a joy watching you grow and develop into what eventually will be an elite lady of the Alliance, going on these trips, doing the do. We always say doing the do. You're like the epitome of doing the do, doing everything that you can do to make the business work for you. Totally exemplify that. And man, I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
Is anyone?
Thank you so much.
Can anyone chat at me any questions for Jara? I think you're probably blowing them away because they're thinking, Dad gum. She started in March. So that's March, April, May, June, July, 5.5 months. You're going to be in Paris, and you have a chance to probably go on the extension trip to Switzerland.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
For sure. Yeah, with your mom in tow.
Right. I'm not stopping there. Definitely going to Switzerland.
Well, it was actually a joy to meet your mom. I had a chance to room with your dad in Denver. He came up to Denver, one of Andy's, when I was on the plane with Andy, or I think it's a West Coast thing we did last fall. And so that's where I get to really know your dad. He was sleeping in the bed next to me, not in the same bed, okay? But we weren't that broke. Well, but he wanted, and it was just fun getting to know your dad. He cracks me up. At the time, he was really focused on his other job and doing the window thing on movie sets, which I found fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
But then this year, he just kind of turned it on, and he's like, producing like crazy. Like when we roomed together in Denver, he was just kind of getting going. But now it's full commitment. And I think part of that is you. I think you've kind of, created some heat, that's kind of urged him to move forward and be an example. So I love your dad, man. He's great. Your mom's awesome. So I can definitely see, kind of how y'all put that together. Fortunately, you favor your mother.
Yeah.
But any last words of encouragement for the new people getting started?
Well, I would just say keep going. Reach up, plug in, really, the 8 steps. For me, like I make it a point to be at the hot spots every week. Like in fact, I even held myself accountable to being at the hot spots. I had a friend that had an office space that we could use, and I'm the only one who has the key. So wow. I have to be there.
You've
so
got
I
to
held
be there.
myself accountable to being there every week.
That's that tax office, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. Because I got someone coming, I think next week, actually.
Oh, cool. Yeah, let me know and we'll welcome them for sure.
Awesome.
Just plug in, one of the things that's been really great, attending some of the events is like you meet people, you can exchange numbers with some of the other agents all throughout, at the different hotspots all throughout, so that, you can reach out to these people like, hey, how's your week going? Even if it's just like a text message, just developing these relationships with people so that you don't feel like you're on your own. Yes, you have your local hotspot, but to have these people all throughout the country that you can establish friendships and relationships with, that's huge. And so I would just say, keep moving forward, keep plugging in, and don't give up. Like Andy says, we have 100% success rate for those, except for those who give up. So
yeah, that's right. It is, as long as you stay in. Now, the next opportunity to come to a major event is coming up in September. I think it's like 15th through the 17th. It's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, somewhere in that mid-September, 15th through the 17th, called Instant Thunder. And we're just doing one Instant Thunder this fall. Should actually be, it's a smaller event than a major function, but it's going to be a major opportunity for y'all, especially if you're new, to come out and get exactly what Jared was talking about, getting your cup filled up with belief so that you can go out there and then turn it on, baby. So anyway.
Yeah. And I've gone to every single event since I've started, and I think that's so important to keep. You can't just, refill your cup once a year. Like, it's so important to try to get to those events. It really, really does help. So
awesome. So what I'm going to do, gang, is after we're done here, I'm going to Slack out on our Slack app. I'm going to send out where to sign up and register for the Instant Thunder event. Jared, thank you so much. I appreciate you helping our people, just really tap into your mentality and getting out the gate quick and just doing the do. And I'm sure that there were those times where you were kind of not feeling, very, up to do it, but you still powered through with the help of your upline, help of Colin, the people that are rooting for you, right? That's who you want to call, people that are already rooting for you, right? And keep
absolutely
urging you on. So you're rocking.
And one last thing I'll just say too is, we're all going to have those moments. And I think it's important to have your why, have it, whether you create a dream board or write your goals every day or whatever it is, but know why you're doing what you're doing, so that in those moments that you have those down days, your why will keep you going.
Amen to that. That's awesome. Well, you don't sound very much like a rookie, because you're acting like a veteran. And see, that's interesting, is that you're acting like a veteran, you're going to get veteran results. So proud of you. Proud you're on our team. And man, you and your dad rock. Joe Duke rocks. The Leventovich team rocks. Alliance rocks. So thank you for being part of it. God bless you.
Well, thank you, Alex, for having me on. I appreciate it. God bless you guys too.
Rock on. All right, gang, you heard it. You heard it from Jara Gonzalez. You're going to see her on stage at NatCon being edified for being a mega producer and not very much of a rookie. She is a rookie in name only, but man, she's acting like a veteran. So appreciate you. Rock on, gang. Let's make this week even a better week. I'm fired up. Man, lead investment, baby. Put the work in. and you'll have those results that Jera's having. God bless everybody. Take care.
See y'all in Paris.
Yes. Oui, oui, man. Oui, oui.
That's right.